and if I can avoid it at any cost, I will.
Why is that?
I think people's mouths are nasty.
So you don't use your mouth to do anything but speak and eat ever. Like you're having sex, you don't do it for any and nothing else. You use because you don't use it for that. You don't use. I'm sure you. I'm sure if you don't suck their dick, you're not putting it anywhere else in their body, and you're not gonna kiss them. So all you use your mouth for is to kiss. I mean, to speak and to eat. Is that right?
You
If you
know,
can avoid
yeah.
it. Okay. So
If I can avoid it.
right. So that is an interesting thing to say because this is what I have to say about that. And you are free. This is your life. You can do whatever you want. And I'm going to sit here and do my little, pop psychology thing here. But I think that the fact that you don't want to kiss means you don't want to get intimate with somebody, and you don't
You're
want to
exactly right.
be, connected to them that way because it's really a much more intimate thing in a weird way than just having sex with somebody.
I think kissing is more intimate than sexual intercourse.
Yes,
I've always
exactly.
felt that way. You're exactly right.
Yeah. So, how long is what was your longest relationship ever?
Oh wow. Um, the longest I'd probably say I've seriously dated somebody, um, 2, 3 years.
Okay. And so, in the 2 to 3 year time period, did you rarely kiss this person?
Well, see, I don't know what happened to me. Like my taste changed from when I was in my 20s till I transitioned into my mid 30s,
Mm-hmm.
and things changed. Something changed in my mind, and we did kiss because he was the second person I ever dated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously dated, and I did it because I thought I didn't like it, but I did it. But then um, relationships after that, I avoided kissing because I didn't. And plus, if somebody has like a bad tooth in their mouth and I see it, I'm not like this guy that I was totally head over heels for.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, so we're still friends. He was a hood white boy, which I like that. If you're white and you have a little ethnic swag to you,
Mm-hmm.
that drives me crazy.
I
But
get it.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, and so we dated, and he had some bad teeth, and I would never kiss him, and I was really into him, and I wouldn't kiss him because his mouth was just so ugh. I couldn't do it.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay. So, and you were really into him, and so would you say you loved him or not?
I don't know if I loved him per se. I was in very very deep like.
Okay. Okay. All right.
But
And
he had other things going on. Like he didn't want to work, and he smoked weed, and
yeah,
he
yeah.
did he did other stuff. But that mouth, but we had phenomenal sex together with as what I consider phenomenal. He seemed to enjoy it. And but he was one of the people that if he wasn't afraid to tell me off. A lot of men that I date, I know I kind of steamroll them with my
Mm-hmm.
personality, and he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't scared. Like you need to really shut your mouth, David. And I'm like, oh, okay, and that's what the kind of person I need. But that his teeth was just so bad, and I just couldn't kiss him. I remember one night we was on the balcony, and he's like, and we was talking about we're going to be really serious with this or not, and he's like, do you have a dental plan at your job? I'm like, look at my teeth. Of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of a diva,
So
and
wait. He asked you if you had a dental plan at your job.
yes, and
So
if we
that
had
must
to,
indicate that he was planning to get his teeth fixed hopefully someday.
that's what he said, but not on my insurance or not.
But if
Get
you're
a job.
together, if you're planning to, you were together for 2 years, you were together for 2 years, and you still don't see helping him, somebody you apparently said you were in deep like with his teeth, because
He didn't
which
want,
you obviously have a problem with anyway.
but see, he didn't want. No, you need to help yourself. I can't help you like that.
Why not?
Nobody, because I didn't want to.
Okay. Well, I think
I know. I told you I'm a bad person.
no. Look, I mean, to me, I mean, you can look at love and relationships however you want and however it works for you, whatever. But I mean, it's not really working out for you that well, David. If you look at
Oh, it's not.
really, I mean, I'm just saying to be honest with you, because you need to remember that, first of all, nobody's perfect. Nobody. You're not perfect yourself. You can't
Oh,
expect perfection from other people if you yourself are not perfect, which nobody is. So you can't expect perfection, period, because it doesn't exist anyway. And just because this guy had some teeth issues, obviously you had other things about him that you found to be attractive and things you loved about him and liked about him a lot, and you were with him for that long, for God's sakes, you obviously could have had a very long relationship with this guy. Did you end up breaking up with him or vice versa?
Oh no, I always do the breaking up.
Okay. So yeah, you have intimacy issues, obviously. You have intimacy issues, you have commitment issues, you have unrealistic expectations of what somebody's supposed to be in order for you to be with them. And you yourself can't even provide those things because, like as I said, nobody can. Nobody's ever going to measure up for you as long as you have these impossible standards. So yes, you have issues, David. You need to deal with these issues.
I told you I was a bad person. I told you I was crazy.
You're not a bad person. But you have issues that if you like your life the way it is and you have no interest in ever being with anybody for a long-term relationship or lifelong or marriage, fine. Then go on and do the things you've been doing because things will continue to be exactly how they've been. But if you want something real, you're going to have to wake the fuck up and look at yourself in the mirror and say, how can I expect this, this, and this of somebody when I can't give this and this and this to them necessarily? Because you're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Well,
nobody is.
I know that, but I just
expect it.
But here's my thing with the teeth. I forgave. To be fair, I forgave a lot of things. I forgave his lifestyle. I forgave, his drug use. I forgave him not having a car. I forgave him not having a job. I gave up a lot of what. I have a box. I live in a very small box. And I've stepped outside the box on some things. The teeth is where I drew the line.
Did you tell him that?
I didn't.
No. So you never even gave him an opportunity to do something about it. He could have possibly, you don't know what he could have done. You didn't give him the option to save your relationship. I mean, obviously the relationship that you had with this guy wasn't important enough to you, but I don't think any relationship you have with anybody that you're dating is. Because if it were...
But you know what? I had a lot of peer pressure as well, too. My best friend hated him because he was a thug, and I just had, I don't know, I had a lot of pressure from outside sources of like, David, it's that whole Atlanta mentality thing that I was almost pulled into. I don't know, I felt bad. We're still friends. We can have sex again, but I just can't kiss you.
Has he gotten his teeth fixed yet?
Pardon me?
Has he gotten his teeth fixed yet?
Actually, I read on. I'll tell you. Look at his profile off the call. Okay. But I think he had all his teeth pulled.
So he has dentures now, or no teeth at all?
I don't think he has any teeth at all.
Was he a meth addict or just poor? What was the reason he had no teeth?
Both, because
he was a meth addict.
Well, one night we get stopped. I'm not trying to have a long story here, but
you can talk as long as you want. I got 5 hours, so go ahead.
We were stopped by the police,
mm-hmm.
And because they seen a black guy and a white guy, because I was picking him up. I was always picking him up because he didn't have a car, and in Atlanta, you have to have a vehicle. Yeah. And I'm sure in Dallas as well, you have to have a vehicle. And you ain't running my car miles up anyhow. And I think I'm crazy. And so we get pulled over, and the police give us a hard time, and then they see his mouth. And maybe that was subconsciously, that stuck in my mind. Mm-hmm. And they said, how long you been off drugs? And I was like, what?
Mm.
But they were being mean. They're like, mm-hmm. Are you boyfriends? What are you guys doing out here? I'm like, well, I'm going to my house, and it's right down the street. I picked him up from his place.
Yes.
And they was rude. It's so funny because the tables kind of turn, because normally, they'll switch it off and treat the black person bad sometimes, but they were like, you need to be careful who you associate with. He doesn't look like it. And so on his appearance, mm-hmm. and it's just only because he's a very, when his mouth is closed, he's a very attractive man. When he's not smiling, because he can't.
Yeah.
And they treated him like he was some drug dealer, even though he was smoking weed and stuff. But they treated him pretty poorly. He tried to tell them he had some type of gingivitis, gum something disease, and they're like, yeah, no, that's from meth. You've done a lot of drugs.
Yes, they knew the difference. Why did they stop you?
They said, which was not true. They said that I had a license plate light out, to where they couldn't see my license plate. And I didn't want to fight with them. All I said was, well, that's awfully odd. How would you know when it's dark and you have your light on the back of my car? How would you be able to tell? And he's like, sir, and I just shut my mouth up because I was trying to get home.
Oh my God.
You know, I did call his boss because when they was asking us, were we gay, were we lovers, and all that kind of stuff, I thought that was inappropriate.
It was.
And I did get, this is from the Marietta Police Department in Cobb County, Georgia.
I had a friend from Marietta. Yeah.
Oh, for real? Yeah, Marietta is nice.
Shaw.
I lived in the county south of Marietta. I lived in Smyrna. I mean, the city south of Marietta. I lived in Smyrna.
Oh, Smyrna, yeah.
And I got a apology from them. They said they were sorry because it was inappropriate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
so, but that's.
Well, I was going to say, the thing is, look, I'm not saying that the way you're saying this about this guy, it's like, you know, you obviously liked him, whatever. For example, like if my husband, whom I've been with for 7 years now, all of a sudden lost all of his teeth, and yes, it would be an embarrassment to me to walk around with somebody who didn't have any teeth, because it's just typically people perceive people without teeth as being low class or, you know, whatever. And even though you don't know what happened, so if he lost all of his teeth, yes, it would be an embarrassment to me, but we would get it fixed together. I don't care how much it costs, we would get his teeth fixed because that's what partners do. But you didn't love this guy enough to do that for him, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying that you act as if he needs to be a certain level of perfection for you to love him. And maybe if you'd gotten his teeth fixed, if he was no longer on drugs, maybe is he on drugs now, or do you not know?
I don't know. I'm sure no, because he's always talking about weed on his page, so I'm sure he's still smoking weed.
Well, that's not that big deal. But anyway, yeah, weed's weed, but whatever. You know, it's not meth, it's not coke, it's not heroin, it's nothing like that. So that's okay, but in my opinion. But anyway, so my point is by now he probably would have been straightened up by now. He probably has a job by now too, right?
No, he's not working.
Okay, well then fuck it.
Yeah, well, and that was a part of the problem. I'm like, because here's the thing, I forgave so much for this person because he had like history, like with the law. He had been incarcerated, and the thing is, he had a good game. He talked real good, and the thing is, the reason why I liked him, and you're gonna think I'm such a hypocrite, I could be myself around him.
Exactly.
And we would talk, and we'd be laying in bed and just talk all night about everything. And he could talk about anything, and he thought I was funny, and you know, but then again, he always was trying to hustle somebody, and he got mad at me once because I wouldn't let him take my car and drive down the street. I'm like, that's not gonna happen, you know.
Yeah,
so
right. Well,
and I liked him.
Yeah, I can tell. That's what I'm saying. You can tell that you actually had an actual affinity for him. But I mean, I'm not saying also you should have overlooked all of these things. I'm not saying you should overlook the fact he was using drugs and the fact that he didn't have a job and he didn't have any kind of real future, all that stuff. That's perfectly acceptable for somebody not to want to be with someone who has no ambition or whatever. That's perfectly acceptable in my book anyway. But I think, you know, the way you presented it was, oh, this guy didn't have any teeth, so I dumped him. So that's the way you presented it to me. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, that's really shallow. But
that was almost like the proverbial straw breaking the camel's back. I gave up all this, but I just can't deal with this. I can't take him anywhere, and this is so bad because he knew I was like going out to dinner. You know, that's all you do in Atlanta, you eat a lot, and I wouldn't invite him. He's like, "Where you going?" "Oh, I'm going back home after I drop you off." But I was heading to Midtown to go have dinner with my friends because I couldn't. Only one of my friends met him. My best friend. That was it.
That's sad.
It's sad.
It's sad. Well, I mean, it's sad also because you had a connection with this guy, obviously, and you felt you couldn't, you know, put him in your friend's presence because your friends were going to be judgmental. You were afraid they were going to judge you based on.
Oh my God, they would have tore him to pieces. Yeah. I was not worried about me so much. Mm-hmm. I just knew that they would have eaten him alive.
Well, but that's the thing, though. I mean, look, I agree. First of all, I understand the whole teeth thing. Like I said, I mean, it would be embarrassing to anybody to be their spouse or partner to have, you know, no teeth, because it just is a horrible look on anybody not to have teeth. So, so I understand that. I just think for me, if I really cared about somebody and I'm in a relationship with somebody, they either have to like them or not. They like them or not. Fuck you. If you don't like my partner, fuck you. That's how I am about it. So if they would have eaten him alive and he, you could have protected him. You could have defended him if you really wanted to. You could have introduced them if you wanted to. But I think you really, honestly, that's what I'm saying. To me, it feels like it was more about you and your embarrassment level, not what he would have gone through. Because you yourself said